I'm ready.
Okay, I was told to speak up and ask all the other commissioners. Some of our people online are having trouble hearing. Oh, that was a bit. So much for that. Anyway, I'd like to call to order the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners meeting for February the 23rd. And at this time, I would ask that Ms. Willan Daniels, we all stand for a prayer. Say a prayer.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together and just to for these commissioners to hear these matters that will come before them tonight. I pray over each of them that they would use wisdom and discernment in making decisions, and they would be in the best interest of the citizens and our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have quite a long agenda tonight. But what I would like to do, how many people do we have here this evening pertaining to the solar farm? Please raise your hand. Okay. If the board will indulge, after we approve the agenda, we're going to take care of that first. Okay, Ms. Williams.
Yes, sir. We have two deletions to the agenda under section 1, item 2, and item 9. Those are all the changes. Yes, sir. I do believe the chairman, when we get to that point, is going to recommend that you all table the landscaping and the RV, but you could delete that as well if you'd like to.
I would like to reschedule those for a special meeting.
So 2 and 3, Mr. Chairman?
2 and 3. Okay. You made a motion to reschedule them to a special meeting. We'll make the meeting at 1 p.m. after our normal meeting. Next meeting, what the March 9th. Is that 1 p.m. okay with everyone? Okay. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, again, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All right,
Mr. Chairman, was that just to table items 2 and 3? Then we need a motion to approve the agenda.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the deletions spelled out in this statement.
Okay, do we have a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Okay. Moving along. Fred, do you know how many people you have online or whatever that
We currently have 15.
okay. All right. So with the permission of the board, I would like to bring forth the what time was it scheduled? 15. I thought it was 6.
No, I believe it was advertised for 6 o'clock.
Okay. I was told 6 o'clock.
You all set it for 6 o'clock.
Okay. Let's go forward. All right. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for coming. Does anyone on the board object to us moving forward, moving this item first on the agenda? Okay. Just so that everyone knows and understands what we're doing, the Board of County Commissioners utilizes the Robert's Rule of Order for Parliamentary Procedure. These rules dictate that before someone speaks, they must be recognized by the chairman. This applies to the commissioners and anyone in here, or we can control the ones on planning easily. Since the meeting room is not in the normal half circle that we have in our boardroom, I'm asking that Commissioner Pate and Commissioner Gill assist me in making sure that if someone raises their hand, that we get them recognized. What we're going to do first, FPL will make a presentation. I don't know how long it's going to last, but however long it takes, so be it. After they finish their presentation, the commissioners may ask questions of the presenters after being recognized by the chair. Everyone who wants to speak must be recognized by the chair before speaking. Everyone should come up to the microphone before speaking. So if you're sitting out there and you want to talk, come up here, state your name, spell your name for the record, okay? Because all of this is being recorded. You'll be given 3 minutes to present your views. At 2 minutes and 50 seconds, you'll be told that you have 10 seconds. At the end of 3 minutes, the mic will be turned off. Now, if a commissioner asks the presenter a question, they will be allowed to answer. So if you're standing up here and you make a presentation or a statement, and one of the commissioners wants to ask you something, you stay at the mic and keep talking. If someone has a question for FPL, they should direct their question to the chair, and then we'll allow the FPL people to, the appropriate one, to come up and answer. For everyone's information, we had 1 letter in opposition to this project. We had 1 letter and petition combination in opposition to this project. We had 7 letters of support. And I am recommending that all of these letters be made an official part of the record. So we will not be reading the letters into the record. Okay, FPL, it's your time.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. I am Tracy Andrews, External Affairs Manager at Gulf Power. We are pleased to bring before you for consideration the proposed Appalachian Solar Energy Center project. This project, which demonstrates our commitment as we continue to advance clean solar energy here in Jackson County. We are not new to this community. Gulf Power has a long history of being a partner in Jackson County. Several members of our team are here. You will hear a presentation from Ms. Amy Goodwin. She's the project manager of development with FPNL. And then we will answer any questions that you may have. Finally, we agree with staff's recommendation of approval and last week's vote of approval from the Planning and Commission. Ms. Goodwin.
Thank you, Tracy, for that lovely introduction, and good evening, Commissioners. It's good to see some of you again, and it's nice to see some new faces as well. If you want to go to the next slide, please. So just a little bit about Nextera Energy and our, Commissioners, we've handed out a copy of the presentation. So I'm on page 2, so that you don't have to turn around. So as we talked last time when I was here, Gulf Power became part of the Nextera Energy family of companies on January 1st of 2019. And since then, we've taken another big step. Gulf Power officially became part of Florida Power and Light on January 1st of 2021.
Or do you have to just let
This
go?
creates some operational and financial benefits for our customers, as well as a stronger utility for the state of Florida. Gulf Power will continue to have a very big presence in the Panhandle and operate under the Gulf Power name through 2021. Gulf remains committed to Northwest Florida and this community here in Jackson County. We will continue to have a significant presence here and look forward to continuing our partnership. You want to go to slide 3, please? FPL and our sister company, Gulf Power, own and operate 33 solar energy centers throughout the state of Florida today. 32 of those solar energy centers are in the Florida Peninsula, spread throughout FPL service territory. And one of those projects, the Gulf Power Blue Indigo Solar Energy Center, is right here in the Panhandle in Jackson County. It was the first project that Gulf Power fully owned and operated, and we're very, very proud of that project. We're very proud to have it here in Jackson County. As you can see on our slides, we also have representations of a few of our other sites throughout the state. The Sweet Bay Solar Energy Center, which is located in Martin County, is the center picture. And then the Blue Cypress Solar Energy Center in Indian River County is in the picture on your right. And those are both in the Florida Power and Light Service territory in the peninsula. If you want to go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we're very excited to be here in Jackson County. We commissioned our Blue Indigo site. Although it wasn't the commissioning we all wanted, we wanted to have an event, but COVID had other plans for us. That site became operational on April 1st, 2020. And we've recently started construction on our Blue Springs site, just east of Mariana. I know that the construction team is starting to mobilize to that area. They've started doing some of the ground clearing activities. They're doing some mowing that has been kind of not maintained through the past couple of months and doing our silt fence. So we're getting ready to go there. And we're pleased to bring you a third solar energy center for consideration tonight. And that's the proposed Appalachian Solar Energy Center. We go to the next slide, please. So in talking about benefits that solar energy brings to the area, it's not just clean renewable power. These solar energy sites also power the economy. They create around 200 construction jobs during the course of construction. And when possible, we try to procure local resources. So obviously those aren't the solar infrastructure, but components that we use at the site that we can procure locally, we do. So some examples of that would be the gravel for our gravel pathways that are through the site, and also fencing materials and labor when possible. We tend to see increased revenue for local businesses, restaurants, and some even RV parks in the area. Some of our workers who come from out of state or at a distance tend to drive here in their RVs and park those and stay in the community. We also add to the county's tax base as a tax-paying resident of the county. In year one, we estimate that this project will generate about $250,000 in taxes, and over the life of the project, the aggregate taxes paid to the county in 30 years is roughly $7 million. And that's without requiring any services from the county. So we're not bringing a large population with us. We're not building houses, so you don't need to do things like add schools, add hospitals. We do not strain EMS, and we operate quietly and pay our taxes as a citizen. So if you go to the next slide, please. To talk about a little bit about our experience, we do build these projects across Florida, as I mentioned. They are very passive in nature, and they make good neighbors and are highly compatible with a lot of land uses, including residential uses and agricultural uses. So as many of you know, I think you've either had the opportunity to drive by Blue Indigo or take a tour of Blue Indigo. These solar sites are virtually silent, and all of the equipment sits relatively low to the ground. So the solar panels at their lowest point are 2 feet off the ground, and at their highest point are about 7 feet off the ground. So they don't create a visual impact when you look at them from an even ground level. They have no nighttime lighting, and following construction, they do not increase the traffic to the area. The technology that we're proposing at the Appalachian Solar Energy Center is similar. Well, it's essentially the same technology to what is installed at Blue Indigo and what is being installed at Blue Springs. These sites are all monitored remotely and operated remotely from our offices in Juno Beach, Florida. And we only, following construction, our workers are only on site about once a month to do routine maintenance activities or vegetation management. We do have an operational employee located in our Shipley office who is overseeing the Blue Indigo site, and he will also oversee the Blue Springs and any other sites that we build in the Panhandle area. The solar energy that we produce does not require any fuel or water to produce energy. It is the photovoltaic technology, not other technologies that use those types of things. We also, in 2020, looked at the impact that solar energy centers have on property values and hired an independent consultant who's a third party to perform a comprehensive study of an attempt to draw some conclusions on impacts to property values for properties adjacent to solar sites. That study evaluated 10 solar sites across 6 different states over a 5-year period. And the data indicated that a home's proximity to the solar site had no measurable effect on property value. The presence of a solar site has not deterred the sale of nearby agricultural land or homes or impacted the development of residential homes next to solar energy. In a few slides, I'll talk about some of the features that we employ on our sites to ensure that wildlife can continue to traverse the site and even use those sites to flourish. You'll go to the next slide, please. This slide is an example of some of our construction methodologies. You'll notice that if you've seen our solar sites, we do have the vertical I-beams driven into the ground, and then the racking is installed on top of those vertical I-beams. The example pictures that you see here show what is called a fixed tilt solar energy center. What we are installing in Jackson County are tracking solar energy centers. So the solar panels track from east to west and follow the sun. You'll go to the next slide, please. So the proposed Appalachian Solar Energy Center is situated on, is a 74.5 megawatt site situated on 578 acres in central Jackson County. It's located north of Reddick Road, between Hollister Road and Dalwood Cypress Road. Our timeline for development, we submitted our general development order to this committee or to this county on October 29th. On February 15th, we received a P&Z recommendation to bring this matter before the Board of County Commissioners. And provided we are successful in obtaining all of our permits, which include not only the approval for the general development order here, but also an environmental resource permit through the state of Florida, which we are hopeful will be approved later this year. Our proposed construction start date would be by May of 2022 for a commercial in-service date of December of 2022. If you go to the next slide, please. I'd like to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about the outreach we've done in the community. We started our outreach in November when our company was still operating under stringent COVID guidelines. So our initial outreach effort was to mail an informational letter and an informational fact sheet to 66 landowners within half a mile of the project. We did include contact information for members of our team in that mailing, but we did not get a lot of feedback. When we arrived in Jackson County for our planning and zoning hearing on February 1st, we did receive feedback from the neighbors, and we knew that we needed to take more time to talk with the neighbors and understand their concerns. As a result of that additional time afforded to us, we were able to meet with 3 different landowners at their properties to see exactly their concerns on the change in the landscape. We had a phone call with a landowner who was unable to meet with us in person due to the fact that they are not currently residing in Jackson County. And we held a community meet and greet on February 3rd. And 11 of our neighbors attended. What's really come out of this is that we've talked to the neighbors about vegetative buffering requirements and what we can do either on our property or on their property to assist in buffering. And I'll talk about our landscape plan, but we know that we need to do additional work with some of these neighbors. And we still need to talk to them. This is the beginning of the dialogue. And as we continue moving forward with this process, as a member of the Jackson County community, Hope Power wants to make sure that we continue engaging with these landowners and other landowners who have questions on the project or concerns. We also have a really cool agricultural initiative that we're exploring on this property, and it involves Mrs. Horton's grandson. So I'm sorry for highlighting her, but he has a business where he has chicken coops that get moved along grass, and every day the chickens eat the grass, and then you move it along and they eat the next grass. So we're looking at doing that on the border of our property on land that we can't develop for solar, but that can still be used in an agriculture fashion. So that's a really exciting thing that's come out of some of these discussions. And we've gotten to know our neighbors, and we like our neighbors, so we really want to continue working with them. Next slide, please. This is just, I won't belabor this, but this is a quick artist's rendering of what a solar site could look like. You'll see Delwood Cypress Road, Hollister Road, and on the very right-hand portion of your page, the road that curves around is Reddick Road. The solar array covers the majority of the site, and our main entrance to the site is going to be off of Hollister Road at the northern portion of the property. There will be some land off of Delwood Cypress Road in that triangular area where, as of right now, we do not have enough width to fit solar panels. So we're looking at some opportunities for that land as well. If you'll go to the next slide, please. This shows our site development plan, which was submitted with the general development order. For the county's requirements, the project is set back 50 feet from all property boundaries, and our design carefully avoided 1.1 acres of wetlands, and we added an additional 50-foot buffer around these wetlands. Primarily, the only wetland on site is in the center, and it's a very small circular wetland. You'll see it by a blue kind of image there. I know those drawings are a little difficult to read. We do have a small impact to a low quality wetland on site, and that wetland is less than 1/10 of an acre, and that's located in the northeast corner of the property. You'll go to the next slide, please. This slide shows our proposed landscape plan. What we've done is we've focused our landscape buffering activities around the areas where there are residents and we can control the property boundary. So all of the residences are shown as black squares, and we have two different buffer types depending on the type of resident. If the resident is kind of across the street, as you'll see on the north side of the property, and for a portion of the south part of the property where the thicker white line is, we're using one method of buffering. We're employing a different method of buffering where the orange line is shown on the southeast corner of the property. And that's because that's Mrs. Waxger's backyard. So we've been having ongoing conversations with her on buffering for her view, because her view will be one of the ones impacted. So we are, as I mentioned, we're continuing these conversations. We had our photographer who works with a company come out and do visual renderings of all these different vantage points, and those are included in the appendix of the deck. We will be showing those and sharing those with the residents and talking through them to adjust buffering as needed. You'll go to the next slide, please. Our project, unlike the proposal that we submitted a proposal that said we would use chain link fence around the site. We will be switching to 6-foot or 4-foot, what we call wildlife friendly fence. I'm told that up here that's called hot fence. So this wildlife friendly fence does two things. One, it blends in a lot more naturally with the surrounding community. Number two, it enables the wildlife to continue to move throughout the site. We've used this type of fencing at other sites in Florida, and we've seen that from firsthand experience I have on the next slide, some wildlife camera video or photos that we've had deer, turkey, and all sorts of birds and animals continue to move through the solar site. The one point I want to make on fencing is that while we can use the wildlife friendly fencing around the solar array, there is one area of the site that will still require chain link and barbed wire, and that is the solar substation that is located on the westernmost portion of the site against Hollister Road, and that will continue to have the chain link and barbed wire fence. And that is an energy safety requirement. You'll go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we do have wildlife using our sites. Obviously, birds use our site a lot because of the simple ingress and egress for them. But we've also done studies. We did a study with game cameras at one of our sites in South Florida and identified over 2,500 species using our solar site. And that's everything from deer, rabbits, raccoons. There's a picture of a bobcat on there who jumped into our solar site, turtles, and we even saw an alligator in this 1-year study. So this shows us that the creatures that would typically be in this area do come back to the solar site. And in another study at a different site, we've tracked and counted 47 different avian species throughout the study period. We've also done things like partnering with the Audubon Society. If you look at that top row of photos, you'll see what looks like a little PVC pipe in the shape of a T. That's actually a snail kite stand, and that's a specific type of bird, and they use those little perches. We've installed these perches at some of our solar sites where that tends to be their habitat. And we're continuing to do initiatives like that. In another project that I'm developing in South Florida where we have Florida panther habitat, for example, we are planting panther prey food plots to entice animals that panthers like to eat to come and use our solar site and perhaps even entice the panther to come. So we're continuing to look at creative initiatives to make sure that we're not only building the solar site, but that we're also doing what's right for the environment and all the creatures out there. So on behalf of Florida Power and Light and Gulf Power, I'd like to thank you for your time this evening. And we look forward to continuing to partner with Jackson County on future projects. And I'm available to answer any questions you have, and I may call on some of my additional resources if needed.
Thank you. I got ahead of myself. Ms. Wendy, you want to come up? I have to officially go into a public.
Do I have to do the whole thing again?
Yes. We will call you back up and answer questions. Go ahead, Wendy.
Thank you.
She gave you a bad look.
So we're requesting board approval for a general development order to construct a new solar energy center to be known as Appalachian Solar Energy Center. The total impervious surface is 379,161 square feet. The development is to be located on the north side of Red Oak Road, approximately 0.23 miles north of the intersection of Red Oak Road and Hollister Road in the county. On February 15, 2021, the Planning Commission recommended approval, and we would like to ask for a motion to approve the proposed general development order for Appalachian Regional Solar Energy Center with 6 conditions listed in the staff report dated November 16, 2020, with authorization for the chairman to sign.
Thank you. Can you come back up, please?
Yes, sir.
Does any board members have a question?
I've spoken to more people. So I've spoken to 4 people since this venture has come to the public, and so some of the concerns that they had also need to be addressed at the forefront. I think you covered some of it in the buffering I understand Ms. Horton, I'm not sure Ms. Horton's here. Ms. Horton lives on a very high, plateau, I guess you said, above the land. So hers, of course, I addressed hers first, was how high the buffer, and I noticed you did in your indication on your, marking here, what kind of buffering are we doing that? I mean, all else is to be hard to compensate for the height of the residence versus that. So I want to address hers first. What are we looking at for buffer for the long term?
So there's, in addition to the challenge of Mrs. Horton being on the hill, which Scott and I, the day after our first planning and zoning hearing, went to Mrs. Horton's house and stood outside and looked at that view with her for about 2 hours. The challenge is that her, where her house is situated is just about as high as the center point of the proposed property. And that makes buffering a challenge. What we're looking at is planting some more mature trees than usual. I think what we have in there are wax myrtle right now and cypress trees. Is that correct?
The Leland side.
We don't have wax myrtle. Oh, we have wax myrtle.
Well, what height would y'all say that?
I think we're planting at 4 or 5 feet, which certainly isn't going to address the view
On short term, long.
on short term. Oh, we're planting them at 8 feet. My apologies. I don't know how tall they grow, but Mrs. Waxger just gave me 4 different books on Florida trees. So I'm gonna try and consult one of my new reference manuals.
Can you let her know? We'll talk about it. She was the one I wanted to address first, because hers was most challenging.
Yes, it
From
is.
my standpoint, because of the height.
It's challenging for us as well, and we've had conversations with her, and I think we're committed to, well, I know we're committed to continue working with her, if she'll be committed to continue working with us on some other creative alternatives, for her. So 40 feet, wax myrtles can grow to 40 feet eventually. But we're committed to continue working with her on the buffering, and whether that means, planting a tree that's slightly taller at the onset, or planting some buffering even on her own property that she can control, that's not controlled by someone else. We're looking at a lot of different creative solutions for that.
So the thickness, the width of it, how, I know y'all require to do 50, or y'all plan to do maybe more dense in that area. I'm direct this to you, shift to less if you need to, but I'm asking on the, when you drive by, it's gonna be checkered to the point that you can't see from the roadway. I know this was again a challenge, but the thickness of how much you're going to plant. I mean, you can one row of plants, you're gonna plant several 50 feet or 100 feet.
Right now we're going to leave the existing vegetation as much as possible. I do not know how much existing vegetation we're leaving in that area. And then we are planting 1 10-foot section of trees. And I think my coworker Scott would like to weigh in on this answer if that's okay. And
Go ahead and state your name and spell it.
Scott Stoll, I'm the senior project manager with Fort Bottom Lake. The business address is 700 Universal Boulevard in June Beach, Florida. We're planning is for 95% capacity within 18 months. So it should 95% shielding rate.
Within 18 months. And how long does it take wax myrtle to get to 20 feet, 40? I know they grow fast. Okay. Mr. Donald,
Just one quick question. I had something to go power representative, something to Blue Indigo site. And as the point of Commissioner Hill's question, the buffer is probably the critical component of this.
yes, sir.
And I guess my question, I know we'll have a discussion about our current landscape ordinance. Does this development meet our current landscape ordinance regulations?
Applicant, have the microphone. On page 5 of the staff report, it does say that it needs landscaping fixes. But I would take this opportunity to say, Mr. Chairman, that
Go ahead.
you can, anything that they are agreeing to do with landowners, you can require that to be made a condition if that would provide additional comfort to the landowners in your development order.
I was going to address that later. Anyone else?
One additional point as to the
State your name, please.
Absolutely. Jeanette Gadelia, I'm an attorney for FPL, but it's.
You better spell that fast.
I know, I should. I'll do the whole thing. So the first is Vinette. I actually do have a court reporter online, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it. First is Vinette for Vinette, and the last name is Gadelia, Godelia. And so this is a quick reminder, and I know we do have a couple of new commissioners here, that the board did approve, staff development board approved in 2018 regulations specific to how solar should be implemented based on how the code and the compound were written, and then just said knowledge, right, of solar facilities. So I want to make sure that we can get a copy of that 2018 memo in, because it speaks to what landscaping is appropriate in addition to what code says, if that's
Okay.
for you.
If you have a copy, please provide it. Make sure our attorney gets a copy. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any more questions, commissioners? I have a couple for you. In talking with people about this, you said the panels will track the sun, correct?
That is correct.
So they'll start in the morning, they'll be facing east.
That's correct.
And as the day goes on, they slowly rotate
That is correct.
all the way over until they're facing west, right?
That is correct, sir.
So when do they rotate back to the east? After sunset?
After sunset,
Okay,
they go back.
okay. So these are turned with motors?
There is a small motor on the back of the solar, each solar array, yes.
Okay. And another question that has come up is the panels themselves. I've seen one of the letters indicated that these things generate heat, a lot of heat, and would be a problem. My understanding of these panels is actually in reverse. They pull in the heat, and the beams that are inside are so pure they get hot, and that generates the power that is transmitted to the substation. Is that correct?
You have a good knowledge, you have a good working knowledge of solar energy. The solar panels are designed to attract the sunlight and convert that sunlight into energy. Therefore, they do not necessarily get scalding hot. Now, in the summer in Florida, with sun shining down on them, they would be probably as hot as touching a car window in the summertime. That's maximum heat they get.
Okay. Another question that came up was what happens to these panels at the end of the life cycle? And what happens to one that is damaged during the cycle?
Okay, so I'll address at the end of the life cycle, your first question. At the end of the life cycle, we are able to extract the steel racking components from the ground. Those are not installed with the use of concrete. So they're simply, you bring a machine in there, pull them out. The aluminum and the steel can be reused, recycled. The panels themselves are primarily made of glass and semiconductor material and with a metal frame around that. And that can all be recycled and or disposed of in the appropriate manner. During the life cycle of the solar energy center, should a panel or a group of panels become damaged, FPL replaces those panels to make sure that we continue operating. We don't leave damaged equipment in the field.
Do you recycle those panels?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. We would work to recycle any damaged panels using the methods that are available today.
Obviously, you've got 500 and something acres around Lawrence Road that you're going to need mowing.
That's correct.
Do you have a contract with someone to mow that, or
As
can
to
we
my
get
knowledge,
someone from Jackson County?
we do not currently have a contract. I know that I did mention we are doing mowing activities out there. I do not know who is doing those activities, whether that's our construction contractor. But we typically like to look for local people to do things like our routine site maintenance. So we
Yeah,
can,
how many people might be needed to keep one of them mowed?
typically we mow about once a month. So
Any idea, anybody in here from FPL have an idea how many people may be out working mowing? If you got an answer, come up.
Evening, Commissioners. My name is Brandon Stankiewicz. I'll spell that. It's BRANDON Senior Director of Florida Power Line. My business address is 700 Universal Boulevard in Beach, Florida. Commissioner, regarding your question about the ongoing maintenance during the operational life of the project, they're typically going to manage this on a portfolio basis, like Amy kind of alluded to in her presentation. The mowing activities are going to happen 3 or 4 times a year. And as far as the mowing crews, I could certainly follow up with that. I'm going to guess that it's probably half dozen folks operating the equipment. It takes them a handful of days to get through the site using mechanical equipment, mowers and string trimmers.
I'm just trying to determine the number of jobs that might be created.
Yeah, Commissioner, I think a safe estimate is probably about a half dozen, and I'd be happy to follow up with
For
our
each
operations
site?
folks. They typically are going to rotate them around on kind of a regional portfolio, yeah.
Okay. We just want to make sure that the people in Jackson County are given the opportunity to bid on these jobs. You know, whatever we have to do to get the information to the appropriate people, I would appreciate it.
Understood,
So
sir.
y'all are not, that's another rotation I had that here for my constituents to mention is, y'all don't need no spraying, no Roundup, or even buying nothing like that, no simple application. You push into the mowing and
Yeah, the primary means of vegetation management out there is going to be mowing. There could be some spot treatment using something like Roundup around some electronic equipment like the inverters, but it's not broadcast sprayed over the entire site, no, sir.
No? Okay, that's all I know. Is there anyone in the audience who has a question? Yes, ma'am, please come forward. State your name.
My name is Sally
Take
Wax.
that mic down if you want. I hate to see you stand on your tiptoes.
Sally Waxger. Whoever's writing, Waxgiser. I want to state for the record one thing first, that you did say that you had 7 letters in support and 2 letters in opposition.
1 letter and 1 letter petition.
Right, I was gonna add that. I'm the one that sent you the petition letter. I want to state that that petition letter had over 80 signatures. So it isn't 80 letters coming to you. We kind of banded together. The other thing that I want to bring up is they did an independent study on the impact of land and residences next to solar farms. We're going to lose solar fields. They're not a farm. That's it's we're all intelligent enough to know that you're just not going to pay the same amount of money for a house next door to a solar field than you are next door to some pastoral setting. So you wouldn't build a house next to it. You just wouldn't go there. So that information is not really correct. And even though I do appreciate all the hard work that Florida Power and Light is and has done, I still, in that letter, over 80-some people and almost everyone surrounding that solar field objects. So to me, that's incompatibility. And that's one of the things in this great code that we have for developing this county. And it also says in there, and I did not bring that form with me because I've read it too many times, that your responsibility for that development is to help protect our rural waterfront. And that's something that we want. And then the end of my letter, if I'm not running out of time, there is that one little statement that I want you to remember, that I happen to use a lot in my life, is that good managers always ask, are we doing things right? The good leaders ask, are we doing the right things? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioners, and not a matter for the record, appreciate Ms. Waxger's comments, but the property value impact study that we did, I think, is a more credible evidence on the issue of property values and diminution in value, if any, which our studies found did not happen. So I appreciate the concept that you can just assume that a person would pay less for a house next to a solar farm than not. But the study says something different. And this is a study, if you want to have some more information discussed, Brandon is here, he'll be more than happy to speak to you. But I'd like to get this into the record to clarify that the sentiment that she expressed, that public sentiment, I get that. But the facts are what they are. So I'd like to go ahead and get this.
Wait a minute. Where was this study conducted?
So do I need to do the name again?
Pardon, I can't hear you.
Sorry, should I do the name thing again, or?
No,
Okay. Commissioner, so the study was done on a total of 10 different solar properties in, I believe it was 8 different states. I've got the list of them here. We have a couple of properties in Florida. We have North Carolina, we've got Virginia, New York, Indiana, and Minnesota. So the intent and the purpose behind the study was to try to get a broad data set from a number of different states that match the profile of what we're trying to do here in Florida. So we're not looking at solar sites that are in a dense kind of suburban environment. We're not looking at rooftop solar. We're not looking at very small community-sized solar projects of, a few kilowatts or 5 or 10 megawatts. We're looking at large universal scale installations of the same type that we're proposing to do as Florida Power and Light and Gulf Power. So the intent of the study was to find those relevant, what we call paired sales, using that data over a significant enough period of time to try to draw some relevant conclusions on what the data are saying. And what the data are saying is they're, like Amy mentioned, and I thought performed very well at explaining it, is that the data say that there isn't any detrimental impact. And I agree that it might not be intuitive, but when you step back and you think about what solar brings, it's typically not, the negative type impact that you would associate with a detrimental impact on property values, noise, odor, vibration, excessive traffic, and things of that nature. I should also note that another part of the study that we talk about here is, as part of the study, they look at data, but they also talk to local property assessors, real estate agents, tax assessors, and other folks to corroborate the data with some of the observations that the folks who were living and operating and doing their business in these communities have observed with their own eyes, to make sure that there wasn't a disconnect between, professional experience and observed data. So hope that.
You provide me a copy of that.
Yes, sir.
We make it part of the record. Okay, anyone else from the public, please come forward, state your name.
Patsy Johnson. Do I need to spell it? Pretty easy.
I think we know how to spell Johnson.
Okay. Patsy is Patsy, not Patsy. I'm not gonna try to say a whole lot. This is some information. I have researched this thing ever since I found out about it. I have a lot of information. I went out in the public and talked to the people almost 3 solid full days, the citizens in Jackson County, from, Sneed to Mariana. I would just go in parking lots and just ask people if they heard about this, do they know about it? And all this kind of stuff. I know and I appreciate what they've done to come to life of these people. But at the same time, it has not changed the minds that I have talked to about that we do not want this thing. I have, the studies I have done, and I mean, I've got papers and papers I've printed out over the internet and stuff, but it's stuff like, I studied Texas and the solar and the wind power in Texas. And I've read news reports and things from Tampa Herald and different news articles that I read. And one particular paper out of Texas said by the year 2050, recycling solar material could exceed $15 billion. They've got, and I know it's a different kind of solar field, farm, whatever you want to call it, they're doing, but it's still unrecyclable because the companies went belly up and just left it for the county to deal with. But the main thing that I want to express to the county commissioners is talking to the people in our county that grew up here, that loves it here because of the county we live in, nature county, friendly, recreational, just beautiful county, and we're all proud of it. We want that. We want to grow, but we don't want to do it at the expense of what our quality of life has been. We need jobs. That's what we need for our people. And the remark that says we in Jackson County don't want to work, that was at one of these meetings the other night. I take that as a total slander against all of Jackson County. It's not all of us. We've all lived here and worked here. So people are willing to work. So we need jobs. And I appreciate what they've done, but it has not changed our mind for what we want our land to be used for as a county. And the citizens saying to me, didn't know nothing about it, what is the need to go? Because I've seen in the past that the decisions that are made without the public being able to say how they feel about something. So I hate that people feel that way. I know
10
it's probably
seconds.
not necessarily your fault, but people need to know more about what's going on in our county, and y'all need to hear more about what's coming from our county people and what they do. And I don't have copies, but you can have them.
We'll make it part of the record. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Anyone else here in the room? Okay, Fred, do you have anyone? Oh, wait a minute, we do have one. Roy Baker?
Roy Baker, Opportunity, Florida, ROY. You okay? Watch your car and write this down. I actually didn't know how to spell Baker. Commissioners, I'm here to speak on behalf and in support of the solar farm. Opportunity, Florida covers 10 rural counties in Northwest Florida. We're on the move of becoming a green energy region. The situation in Jackson County, solar farms will produce more electricity and light energy for more homes in one.
Because you
That's
sell
our
her back.
too.
She was feedback.
When you add solar farms in Calhoun County that have been approved, possibility of other counties in Northwest Florida, we will be a green energy region. That attracts companies like we already have, like Indeed, largest wood energy pellet producer plant in the world. This county is known for its energy and the producing energy, just like at Springville Landfill and that project there. The company, Gulf Power and Florida Power Light are both economic development pro companies. They support not only investing in communities, but they support in education processes, marketing Northwest Florida to the rest of the country to attract new businesses here. So we support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Anyone? Yes, Mr. Rich. Richard Williams. Okay. So I'm the executive director of Resource Cola. And here today in support of the solar farm and the efforts being made we are one of these areas in the state that's really trying hard to create new jobs. One of the ways we do that, and just Baker mentioned that it's this green energy move. It's really going to make this area, this whole region attractive to a lot of different types of companies. We're already starting to see some people that are asking questions because of what they hear is going on and the investments being made. And one of the things that's going to happen is with these additional investments, you're going to get even more attention. And so that's something we think is very important for the county. The company has a very good record in doing these types of projects. That's one of the things that we want to support. We want to keep going in this county. And we work with them. They had some of the training, some of their activities that were done actually at our career center when they were working with some of the individuals on the previous project. So we want to continue that relationship with them. And we look forward to that. And I do want to note for the record, Mr. Chair, this is probably the first time you've ever heard me speak, but I didn't use all my time. Okay, well, we'll keep you on that record. Mr. Melvin?
David Melvin, I want to speak in support of the project. We've had experience over the last 5 years of designing 3 solar facilities for the city of Mariana, 10-acre one, and then 2 3-acre sites. And those have been very successful and fit into neighborhoods. And one's in an industrial park, but one's in a neighborhood and fit in real well. I know we always want to kind of control our neighbor's property on that, but about the most benign use that you can have of an adjacent property is a solar facility, especially if it's properly buffered on that. I live next to a federal prison, and so we have deer stands and people shooting guns and those kind of things, but the solar field is about the most benign use that you can have, especially with the proper buffering on it. And I think it's, when you think about the revenue that this will generate for our schools and for our county, it's a very good project. We should be grateful to have it.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Any? Darla?
Darwin Gilmore from Jackson County EDC, BARWINGILMORE. Wanted to speak on behalf of Gulf Power. They're a long-time economic and education partner for our county, our region. In fact, as many of you know, I recall a time when they cranked up with some talent pipeline work, which eventually became something called the Northwest Florida Manufacturers Council, which is helping recruit and retain talent and train talent to stay in our region. They also, a young lady named Jennifer Grove helped start a grant for several $1 million for the Panhandle for educating manufacturers. Sandy Sims has been involved and very supportive through their foundation with other technical training. In fact, I know that at Chipola College, we received $50,000 for training in robotics, automation. The kind of jobs that have been referred to require high-tech, high-skill, and they've been very active in this along the way, helping us buy CNC milling trainers, helping us buy robots. So we very much appreciate the partner that they are and have been. They've also participated heavily in things like site certification support, scholarships through Take Stock in Children, marketing grants. We didn't even have a website for our EDC here back a couple of years ago. They've helped support the Endeavor site. So the list goes on and on. So I thank Gulf Power for their tremendous support for our region.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. Ms. Carmen?
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Carmen Smith, CARMEN, SMITH. I won't take up too much of your time today, but I did want to stand in support of Gulf Power and to also highlight the good neighbor as well as community partner that they have been from my experience. Regarding affordable housing in our area, I know that they have sponsored and volunteered on the construction of at least 3 homes. And they also provide long-standing investments in ensuring that our homes are energy efficient and that our homeowners are reaping benefits, not just for now, but long-term affordability as far as rates. To me, that speaks to the partner that they are. Their investment in individual families
And now, in the support of their technological advancements that they have brought to our county to implement, can only further improve the quality of life for all of our citizens. I know when we look at things on a more individual basis, there will always be variances, but when we look at the county that we want to be, to have a diverse portfolio of economic development and revenue generating sources, we can't ignore the fact that what they're bringing to us is an opportunity for us to improve, which I know is the goal of the commission. So I just want to say from my standpoint, as a housing advocate, it is of utmost importance to me to continually improve the life and conditions of our citizens. And I want to thank Gulf Power SPL for your investment in our service area.
Thank you, Ms. Stephanie. Ms. Tiffany Garland.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tiffany Garling, and it's Garling. Executive Director of the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce. Also want to speak in support of Gulf Power. They've been a long-standing member of our Chamber of Commerce, but in addition to that, we know them as very strong community and economic development partners in Jackson County. They do have the smallest footprint of our 3 power providers in Jackson County, but they always come to the table in a strong way and match the efforts of the other power providers. As I mentioned in the Planning Commission, I got to know several of them through our Hurricane Michael experience. They stayed in the EOC with us right next to the chamber for about 30 days, even though they had already restored all the power in Northwest Jackson County to their customers. As Darwin mentioned, they came to the table very early on when Jackson EDC was started, and there's really just not been anything that we haven't received from them, and we've reached out. They've gone really above and beyond for community and economic development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. Brad, do you have anyone?
If there's anyone online via Zoom that wishes to speak, you may raise your hand via the raise hand button or by pressing *9 if joined via phone.
We have one more person. Come on up. While you're getting someone online.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Mickey Gilmore. I'm a member of the Jackson County Economic Development Board. A long time ago, we created this board, and thank you for you folks who have been a big supporter of our new organization. And I do want to also mention that this board is the vote got right. This time, I really appreciate what y'all do, and I really trust what you're doing. But a long time ago, we started the Jackson County Economic Development Committee, and we were going to replace the old JCDC. And we had a hard time trying to get established on everything we needed to do. And our first job was, once we got all together, was to create the rules and regulations and stuff. And I had a great team back here. I had a great team that helped put that thing together in that year. But also, we needed support. And one of the best supports in our county was Gulf Power. They came to us. We didn't go to them. They came to us, sat down, and we started to explain at Chicago Junior College. We started to explain where our direction was going to go. And we didn't know. We had several processes we wanted to do, but we didn't know which one to really tackle. They sat down with us as a good neighbor, sat down and helped us come up with a plan and direction and a whole idea of what we needed to plan on. Instead of just going all over the place, we targeted distribution, manufacturing, not just, I came up with some crazy thing about building computers and this thing, and they said, how good is your internet? And at that time, I don't know about you, but my internet sucks. But now it's getting better. It's going to get better one day. So they said, well, then that's not where you want to be. So we came in with distribution because of IT and stuff. I'm not real knowledgeable on the solar panel stuff. I know it is the future. It is coming, whether you like it or not. Things are going to change in that direction. But if I needed a good neighbor type company to direct that in my area, this would be the one I would choose. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Brad, do you have anyone?
I've got one caller, phone number ending in 133. Please state your name for the record.
Okay, there.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Janet Frank, Frank, and I appreciate the opportunity to address the commission. I would like to make the commission aware of a recent incident regarding the FPL requested easement on our property. And it was on Friday morning, February 19th. I looked out my window to see two white trucks trespassing on our property. One with a drilling rig in the upright position drilling. My husband and I immediately confronted the operators of this drilling rig, wanting to know who authorized them to do this on our property. The drill operator stated the engineer did. I asked if the engineer was from FPL and if this was for the FPL solar site across the road, pointing to the proposed Appalachian Solar Energy Center across Reddick Road. The drill operator said yes. Now please note, FPL has no easement to do anything on our property. We told the drill operator we were going to call the sheriff. I contacted you, Mr. Hill, about this trespass and borehole drilling, and I really appreciate you responding to me. I also sent an email to Scott Scoville about this trespass and drilling. On Monday, February 22nd, I called Jackson County Sheriff to make a trespass complaint, and a responding officer gave us a case number for reference. We finally got an email from Mr. Scoville dated yesterday, February 22nd, time-stamped 6:11 Central Time. It was thanking us for bringing this contractor to his attention, and I'll quote from the email now. Quote, "It was unquestionably a mistake on our part, and we apologize for any inconvenience this has caused you," end quote. It is our opinion that, number one, the only reason we got an email from Mr. Scoville is because we called the sheriff out. And secondly, this looks a lot like FPL operates sometimes by asking for forgiveness rather than getting permission to do what they want. This is not how a good neighbor does business. I'm sure this is not the first time FPL has done business with a company to do borehole samples on their behalf. They surely understand that a landowner has a right to be given some type of authorizing paperwork prior to trespassing and drilling of boreholes. We feel that our rights as property owners have been violated, not only by the test bore drilling hole, but the whole approach that FPL and Gulf Power has taken in regard to our peaceful enjoyment of our rural living. We ask the Commission to consider this when making your decision on the approval of this project, and we thank you sincerely for our time. That's all.
Thank you. Is there someone else here in the room? Ms. Janet?
My name is June Horton, JUNEHORTON. I have a question I would like to ask. Are there more solar site plans in Jackson County from Florida Power Line?
Is there anyone from Florida FPL who can answer that? Go ahead, man.
Sir, Brandon Stankiewicz. Sir, so right now, this is our third proposed site in Jackson County. As part of some of the long-range plans that both Gulf and FPL are working on, we do have some goals to add a lot more solar projects all around both Gulf and FPL's service footprints. Right now, we have one other property that we're pursuing in Jackson County. We are working through contract process on that. That's frankly all that I'm at liberty to say right now, sir, given the nature of the negotiation with the third-party landowner. Right now, obviously this is the third. There's potentially a fourth, and I couldn't even tie you to a potential time horizon on that. So it's very, very early stage.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does that answer your question, Ms. Jim?
I would like to say that I think 3 or 2 as we have now is more than enough, especially in regards to the one that's planned to go across the road from my house. I just have a question for you, or a comment and then a question. My house, like I said, sits on a hill. The property across the road is hilly. So there's no way to obscure it. And I have another question. Are these panels going to sit parallel to the ground? Or are they going to be level?
Go ahead, answer the question.
The way that the solar racking is installed, it will be, the racking is installed with the contour of the ground. We don't do a tremendous amount of grading work and leveling the ground. We just do enough to be able to safely and effectively install the technology. So you will see, and I'm sure if you've toured Blue Indigo, you do see that the racking is parallel to the current ground contour. If that means the ground contour is, has some slope to it, the racking is installed parallel to that slope. Does that answer your question, Mr. Horton?
Come back up to the
Go
mic.
back to the panels themselves, are they parallel to the ground? Or are they level? If they are parallel to the ground, all those panels are gonna be facing my house.
Okay, I have the answer. When the solar site is installed, the racking is going to be installed north-south in relation to Mrs. Horton's house. And the panels will sit on the racking such that the panel itself, the long edge of the panel, which is about 6 feet, is also facing Mrs. Horton's house. And the side of the panel that actually captures the sunlight, similar to the cell phone, that the side that captures the sunlight will rotate from east. That's the part that rotates from east to west. So the panels, unlike a fixed tilt site where the panels would face, the sun capturing side of the panel would face predominantly in a southward direction. The sun capturing side of this panel would predominantly face in an east-west direction, with the edge of the panel being facing south towards Mrs. Horton's house.
Thank you.
That answer your question?
Clarification, can I see your phone, please? Okay. All right, the panels will sit like this.
That's
Even, and they'll be staggered up the hill. Or will they be slanted parallel to the ground and do this? Like this. Thank you. You're welcome. One last thought to leave with you. If this was directly across the road from your house, 600 acres, would you vote?
Thank you, Ms. Jimmy. Fred, you have anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. You want to speak again?
I have a question.
Okay.
You said come up here, direct it to you, and you'll direct it to Florida Power and Light. So I'll look at it. I would like to know how many counties in the Panhandle have more than 2 solar fields?
Can anyone answer that question?
So currently, Gulf Power owns and operates 1 solar energy center in the Panhandle, and that is right here in Jackson County. We have construction starting on 2 different solar energy centers. One is here in Jackson County, and one is in Escambia County. We have a project approved in Escambia County where construction is on about the same time frame as the proposed Appalachian site. So that would be like a 2022 start with a 23 in the service date. And we have 2 projects approved in Calhoun County. So ones that would have more than 2 would be Jackson County, unless I'm not counting correct. Those are single projects in the counties of, and there are single projects in the counties of Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Escambia. And those are projects that Gulf Power does not own and operate, but they are the beneficiary of the energy from those sites with solar PPAs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say that again in English?
You might not have heard what she said because you were behind her.
I heard her.
But,
I heard her, but I didn't hear that there were any other counties in the Panhandle that have 3 or more.
State it again, but I thought you said Escambia, Santa Rosa.
We will be the only one, is what I heard. And I also heard 4.
So sorry, the direct answer to the question is, are there any other counties in the Panhandle that have 3 or more? The answer is no. The second one that we've got in Jackson County here would make, Jackson County the leader in the Panhandle. That's for the Panhandle. As far as Peninsular Florida, where FPL also has a service territory, we have a number of counties where we've got 2, 3, and in some cases 4 operating solar centers down south as well. Yeah, DeSoto County has 5. So
Okay.
Hopefully that's responsive to the question.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in here have a question? If not, we're going to ask one time.
I don't see any hands raised.
Pardon? You got to go to the microphone.
About solar panels, so.
Well,
My name is
ma'am,
Mary Dimes.
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
we're only talking about solar panels.
Y'all ain't gonna talk about anything else tonight?
Pardon?
Okay, that's
later.
fine. Okay, that's all I needed to know.
We'll do a public hearing later on. We're
Okay,
talking
that's
solar panels. Fred, do you have anyone?
I've got no one else online.
Okay, very good. Ms. Wendy, do you have anything? The only thing I would like to say is that I think, Wendy, come up. FPL, Gulf Power, FPL, have they completed all the requirements necessary for approval of their development order?
Yes, sir.
I think we need to nail down the buffering on, make sure that we got this right, especially around Ms. Horton and the other people's houses. How wide and how high we're going to go with that. Make sure that's part of the development order if this thing is approved.
Yes, sir, and it appears that their landscape plan met the requirements of the county and that they are going above to help me. Mhm.
Okay, is there enough? Any questions from other commissioners?
One question. Business and all, I know that we vote tonight. We retroactively do anything else that the citizens may want on the step of the buffering, or that is going to rest before we vote. One second.
Before you go.
Well, I just said, you're saying if we had anything, I know there's one, there's some that citizens wanted more.
Come back up and tell me what you're doing on buffering. Go ahead and tell me, how wide of a buffer are you leaving along Reddick Road?
Right now, the proposed plan is 10 feet, along Reddick Road.
Whole length?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought we discussed 50 feet.
50 feet is setback. We're setting back 50 feet from
You're going to buffer 10 feet?
Buffer's 10 feet, we're setting back
50 feet
a
from
minimum
the
of
buffer.
50 feet. Right.
Okay, and you're,
A minimum of 50 feet from our property line.
okay. And you're planting wax myrtle?
Wax myrtles, live oaks, along. Yeah, we're planting wax myrtles along Reddick Road.
Yes. Okay. All right, any more questions? Okay, thank you. All right. All right, we're going out of public hearing. Okay. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to listen to both sides of this presentation. Do I hear a motion?
I had all of my concerns answered by my visit up to Blue Indigo. I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed general development order with the conditions stated.
Excuse me, apparently Michelle.
I did.
I went, and it didn't say it, but I did. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Donifro. Is there a second?
Second, I would like to say that I also had the opportunity to visit Blue Indigo. I had the chance to talk to some of my constituents in the area. And Gulf Power has been a very good corporate partner to the community. It wasn't that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Donifro, second by Commissioner McKinney. Any more questions, comments? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. You did what? Okay, 4-1. You get it, Danielle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, moving back to the agenda. Anybody that was here for Gulf Power and wants to leave, feel free, because we are going to be here live. Yeah, we'll give it a couple minutes. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break and we'll return.
What's that? I cut all the mics. The video will roll, but
We need to keep up the 3-minute timer.
we shouldn't, though there was one person that wanted to talk. You can always bring it back up when she does.
Yeah, it's hard when I'm full screen like that, though. Once I drop it, I'm gonna have to drop the full screen and bring it back.
Do you remember how to move off camera?
I'm sending you,
I am.
kick you in the face.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll try it.
And then one other thing, so verification, you can be when somebody
Well, I did it 2 ways. So the first time I stopped it, and then I was like, well, this could just go on forever. So my thing was, so when it came back around, I thought it was pretty to roll it. To weigh them out.
Yeah.
I'll make a note. We'll get clarification on that. But yeah, the first time I stopped it, they could just go, what about this? Long-winded answer. You should have thought about it.
Okay. I'm not hoarding them, they're just spares. Trying to figure out if I want to hang around with that person.
Yeah.
No, we're still getting.
And then the line, a couple miles west of the Wellborn exit is called Echo River. We go back. The second one.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Okay, got everybody back? All right, first, we're going to move back and start at the top of our agenda. And we're going to start off with the consent agenda item.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Bates, second by Commissioner Hill to approve the consent agenda items. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Next is number 3, which is Evan McAllister.
Am I transmitting?
Go ahead, Evan.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm Evan McAllister. I am currently serving as the LMS, that's the Local Mitigation Strategy Chairman for the committee for Jackson County. And we are coming to you tonight requesting approval of our 5-year update for the LMS document, which is required by the Florida Department of Emergency Management and FEMA, and requesting that the board approve by resolution.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill and a second by Commissioner Payne. And then I have one question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I do not see anything in here about drainage ditches in unincorporated Jackson County. And I looked at your flooding thing, and if we had some funding where we could clean these ditches and maintain them, it would help a lot. A large area of the county has these old ditches, but they're all stopped up and they need cleaning. Is there anything we can do to get that in there?
Yes, sir. If I can, I'll quickly try to explain what the LMS is for, and that is for mitigation projects. That is for projects that they are not considered maintenance projects, which are projects that jurisdictions on a day-to-day basis should be taking care of across the board on their infrastructure. But these are these types of projects that are funded usually under the LMS through programs such as HMGP, which is the Hazard Mitigation Program. They are projects that we can track through historical damage from events. Events could be like, if you could prove that those drainage ditches were affected in 2005 by Hurricane Ivan, again in the flooding that we had like in 2009, 2013, and then during Sally. If we could prove without a doubt and show a correlation that these ditches were directly affected and that we have historical data of the damage, then those, we can actually go after funding for those type of projects, yes.
Well, they definitely qualify. And I noticed you've got something on here, Jackson County Stormwater Management Improvement, but anyway. Okay, let's go on.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Dawson.
Table 4.7, Evan, can you hear me okay?
Turn the microphone to you, please.
Thanks. Table 4.7, is there a reason why the city of Mariana's water system was not listed in this infrastructure?
If you look at the project list, we have a set of projects right now. I believe there's either 28 or 30. I apologize. I am actually on the road right now and I do not have the LMS document in front of me. I apologize for that. But all of the projects that are currently listed on the project list are the ones that have been submitted in proper form by the representatives of each jurisdiction. The projects that are shown in this document, it's a living, breathing document. It can be updated, revised, projects can be deleted, but it's at the will and it's the responsibility of each agency and their representative that is assigned to the committee to submit projects for consideration. So currently, the project list that we have is the only approved projects. Again, this is living and breathing. You can add, update, and delete projects every time we have a meeting, which we normally have about 4 meetings a year. In times like we did with Michael, we had meetings every 2 and 3 weeks.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. I guess my question is the fact that the city of Mariana's water system is not included on this table. Does that preclude us from adding any project that may involve the city of Mariana's water system in the future?
No, y'all can take, we.
Okay. All right, thank you, Evan. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0. Okay, I will get with you later about drainage ditches when you get back to him. Okay, Mr. Red Daniels.
I'll be speaking on behalf of Rhett. I'm Eric Worrell with All Day Howell Engineering, the engineer of record on the project. And per the agenda, we'd just like to request board approval for the Indian Springs Phase 2A sewer extension. We'd like to award that to the lowest bidder. I'll just give you a quick briefing. The bids were received on Tuesday, December 15th, and the bidders have 60 days that they have to keep their bids and cannot withdraw them. So we're right at that deadline, if maybe not a little bit past. So while we're trying to push this award through prior to having the additional funding, is because we'd like to go on ahead and lock in the actual amount. Now, this isn't an execution of contract. This is just a notice of award. And what portion of Indian Springs this is for Seminole Drive, Jackson Bluff, the small portion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Page. Discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you, Eric.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Christie Andreessen.
My first item is board direction on first item is board direction on reimbursement for the 2020 Wheels and Water event. This was held in March of last year. Their final evaluation paperwork was due to the Forest Development Council on August 10th, 2020. An incomplete final evaluation was submitted to our offices on January 25th, 2021. Within this packet of documentation, there was enough information to support a reimbursement of $1,400.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Donovan to approve paying the $1,400, correct? Is that what your motion was? Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. All right, moving on. I think you got the next one too.
Yes, sir. Next item is board approval of the internship agreement with FSU Panama City. This would be an MOU to work with the Panama City campus of FSU for a hospitality and tourism internship program. It would serve as a pilot program for VOCC and university. We have a sample position description and program plan attached. It would start ideally in the fall semester. We do have Dr. Irvin Clark here from FSU Panama City and a few FSU PC staff members on the call if you can like give them an opportunity.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Second by Commissioner Pate. Doctor, we appreciate you coming up, and we will work with you to make sure this is a productive program for FSU. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0.
I have one question. Did I do honorary doctor degree on
We can.
Sir, would you like to say something? Yeah. We met him earlier.
Thank you all very much. Irvin Clark, IRVIN, CLARK, Associate Dean at Florida State University, Panama City. We want to thank you all for this opportunity. FSU Panama City, we serve Northwest Florida, and we're looking for any opportunities that we can partner with you. So keep us in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Ms. Christie, I think the next one's yours.
It is on February. This is a request to approve a sponsorship for Florida Bass Nation Spring 2021 Junior High School Qualifier event on Lake Seminole on March 15th. The board approved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Kennedy.
Verification is just to include waiting fees.
So this is for Florida Bass Nation, not that.
Last question. Okay.
I do get clarification though. The TDC approved 5,200, but I had a recommended amount of 6,000 for this event. It does bring a lot of votes, and we're looking at around 600 people coming into town for the event. They made a recommendation for 5,200.
Okay.
Sorry.
Someone else? He said it did.
For the board for 5,200.
You got it, Danielle? Okay. Wait the figure. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 5-0.
All right, thank y'all. Next item is board approval of a sponsorship for the Premier Bulls Tour 2020 Finals. This will be held at Ag Center. They're also like to request waiving fees.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Donovan. Any discussion? Okay, Commissioner Pate, go ahead.
So both approval, not answer.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Next.
The next item is an update on museum steering committee and a request for approving our catalog template for the museum. The template is something that the steering committee members have requested us come up with. There is a copy of that in your packet. This would be something that we can have TDC staff, volunteers, steering committee members, and others use to collect information so that it's all collected in the same format. Then we would rely on Ms. Carlin Tidwell's expertise with Excel to make sure it's all super awesome.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McKinney. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Payne.
This is the time that I should add in here that we are looking for information for the museum. And it's we all know people in the county that might can give articles, information for the museum. So please be out asking questions and finding people that can give stuff for the museum or information.
Artifacts, leads, information, anything we can get, this would be put in this cataloging worksheet so that staff and volunteers can help fulfill what we've got, so we have a true idea of what we've got from the museum.
We're ways away, but now's the time to be gathering the information so we can make our museum good museum.
So Christie wants you to see this worksheet that kind of defines what the artifact or what the piece might be. Doesn't necessarily mean that we accept it to sit it in the museum. It just gives us the opportunity to know what's out there.
Yes, sir, absolutely. This would just be a way for us to know what's out there. We don't have a place to keep anything at the moment, but it would provide just enough information for us to be able to reach back out in the event that we do get to the place where we want to bring this in.
We have a motion and a second. All of those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign, motion carries 5-0.
Good job.
Hunter Potts.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The first item I have is to award approval to award contract for RFP number 2021-05. This is for the Ag Center fence repair to the lowest bidder, which was TKS Construction, in the amount of $19,200.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Donald. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next one, you also.
Next item is board approval to award RFP 2021-09 cleaning services contract for various county facilities to the highest rated proposal, which was global maintenance and services. So following board approval, we will begin contract negotiations and finalize it and bring that before you next meeting for approval.
Have a motion. Bill, second. Any questions? Go ahead.
The health department is the only building that's separate, but that includes basically every other county building, except for one that we don't have on there. So that list, post fee schedule you have in your packet there should give you all the locations. It's almost every county department, minus a few that don't need it.
It's well, they're on their own contractual relationship, and they have a higher level of standards for a health facility. So it just is on its own. Well, no, I don't mean that. I don't mean.
It's the same company.
We historically, the county hasn't had a.
What I meant was our bid specifications are different, not that the company was a lot. Additionally, this contract may not continue on past the CARES funding, so it's two separate.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like 5-0. All right, the next one you also. Okay.
Requesting board approval to award RFP number 2021-12, the Health Department chiller module repair to the lowest bidder. The lowest bidder was M4 Services in the amount of $13,612.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Faith. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign, motion carries 5-0. Next one, you also.
Okay. Requesting board approval of FEMA subaward and funding agreement for DR 4564 Hurricane Sally. So in order to get any funds from FEM or FEMA, we have to sign this agreement that outlines all the standards and rules for us to follow. We're asking for your permission.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Second. Second by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next. Let's go there, sorry. I told you, get ready.
Requesting board approval of the surplus property policy. So, I understand you had some questions earlier, so I can address those and some changes, but the basic policy will outline measures that we want to take to surplus property. So, departments will submit items for approval to the board to be surplus. Once that happens, we'll check within county departments to if they want those items. If they don't want the items, then they'll go to competitive bidding to different, basically public auction or sale. And if that doesn't work, we'll try to donate to various counties, cities, and county state agencies. Yeah, so it'll be advertised in the newspaper, and that's really what we do normally for competitive requirements, but we can do whoever else is also registered on our vendor list. So if somebody wanted to be on that list, they can register with us.
This much different, Mr. Chairman, than what we've been doing. It's just kind of formalizing what we've done in the past.
Yes, it's basically just putting it into words what we have been doing in the past. And so the couple changes that's different on the policy that you have on the last page, on part D, priority, we want to give the priority first to municipalities. First items that we're going to sell publicly. The next part, and we had a clause in there on item E for saying that the property, if it's donated, that it shouldn't be sold. We've taken that out. So if it's donated, that's their property from here on out. So we're not concerned if it's going to be sold or not. And the last part, on the destruction of property, we want to have a provision for recycling and also to seek reimbursement for scrap materials when possible.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Faith. Any questions? Real property.
No, we talked about that, I don't know.
Yes, Commissioner Faith.
That special meeting, set up for the other, when we discuss it. Yeah, that's what I would do, just make it.
Please add that to the list. Okay. Okay. We got a motion and a second. All right. Anything else? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next.
So the next item with that policy being adopted, we'd like to ask for your approval to surplus the mobile home trailer that is at the Old Kensington Fire Station.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Faith. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. 5-0.
Next, the last item for me is to request board ratification of agreement with Forest Service for Wildlife Mitigation Project at Endeavor.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Donifro. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Scotty Taylor.
Good evening, Commissioners. Scotty Taylor, Public Transportation Director here. First item is request board approval, change order 1, and for the chairman to sign the certificate of final completion for the County Road 162 resurfacing project. I close that project out completely to be done.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McKinney. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Next item is for chairman to sign a resolution so that we can submit to FDOT for grant funding under scrap project. And on that project, we got the County Highway in the Blue Springs Road will be submitted on that to our longest road in worse shape.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Faith. Second by Commissioner Hill. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Next is same type of resolution. It's under the Scott program. It's for
Trumpet Springs Road, US 980 to County Road 164, and,
Motion by
Alliance
Commissioner
Road.
Hill, is there a second? Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Pate. Any questions?
And
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
next one's the same type of resolution, but it's under the city, thing. I believe that the wrong attachment got put on there. I got the correct attachment here. Got corrected in there. It's, the Submit Old Spanish Trail, section that's not paved there, but I have the correct resolution here.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Hill, is there a second? Second by Commissioner McKinney, any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
My next item is the update on the litter program. The formal bid was advertised today. It should be back March 16th with pricing the whole county. I've been talking back and forth with Chief Jeter. We've got set up for Thursday. He thinks he's got 3 to 4 trustees and that we put one correction officer, and what we're going to try to do, plan it out Thursday to get started next Monday, and like it's on the main roads, the Blue Spring Highway, Canada Highway, Alliance Road, bigger roads, Caverns, well, Caverns is, 9 state, yeah, Caverns is old US road though, off of there on the list, but that's, we're at on the litter right now, but we're waiting on the bids to come in, but yeah, it's
Scotty, how many miles road do you have?
1,045 if you, once you go the right way.
1,045.
No, you know, it's 522 to go and get 1,045. That's mainly the paved road. There's a few like, more asphalt roads that's in there, but it's mainly the roads we might.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner.
This is just an update.
Oh. We need to debrief it.
I'll make sure we send something out of the, arrangement.
Make contact with them and check on Charlotte Jackson. That is correct. I didn't know that until this week.
Vance come on website. Put those for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. We're gonna take he just got the motor. He didn't get like a full cycle. So we're gonna bring it in Friday, clean it up, so we're gonna take it out to the funeral.
Did he get a chance to run it?
He got a chance to run.
Good.
Take it out. Yes, there he was.
Nice cut. Absolutely.
I'll let him know.
Harley.
Thank you.
No need to rush me, I'll make it brief. Good evening, Commissioners. This item is a board update as requested regarding the transport of these persons to the medical examiner within the county. As requested, I checked with the following counties: Washington, Gadsden, Holmes, and Walton. None of these surrounding counties have a policy stating that they only pay in-county funeral homes for transport. They rely on the sheriff's office, just as we do, to contact the correct funeral home on rotation, and they pay accordingly as required by statute.
Isn't it state statute requiring us to pay for the bodies?
That is correct. It is to be at the
Okay,
the
so
county and not
are
the
we-
medical examiner.
Are you preparing some sort of a policy?
Yes, sir. That's the will of the board.
I would think it's a state statute, you don't really have a choice. Well, right now, there's a policy that they won't pay. If, you know, what's the name, over, comes in and grabs one.
This body put that in place. We were paying them before.
Okay. All right, well, bring us the policy and the new one, and we'll take care of it at the next meeting. policy is going to be in compliance with state statutes that we pay $400, I think it is.
So we just go ahead and make a motion to approve it, subject to the signature of the chair. I mean, we already know it's got all, I want to say is it's got all those things. So this would, you would pay.
Over, you'll pay whoever comes in.
Whoever. And that is what other counties are.
Commissioner, if I remember right, you this over, this, right?
You live, oh, family lives.
Yeah, there's a lot of one thing is that I was understanding. Family say that. There's not family request.
And in other counties, there is not a policy, I mean, because of statute, they just, they allow the sheriff's department to make that.
Before we change it, what was the reason that we did that? Does somebody know?
Because they wanted the local funeral homes to get the benefit of that, not an Allen County.
Okay, I was just, making sure we wouldn't want to be changing something that they was research done and can't really seem to do with this. So I make a motion to accept the resolution. I say.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner McKinnon, for you to prepare a ordinance, whatever we need. Policy, directing that we'll pay in compliance with the state statute.
Sure, you get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Carries 5-0. All right, Ms. Willan?
Yes, this is a request for board approval of a contract between the Board of County Commissioners and Career Source regarding the autism school. This is to purchase curriculum for the Autism Transition Academy.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hill and a second by Commissioner Fahey.
No, if we could, Madam Administrator, could we send a thank you letter to the Career Source
Absolutely.
for this? Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second and a request for a letter. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All the voters like, and motion carries 5-0. Okay. Ms. Willan?
This is board approval or board consideration of a conveyance agreement. This is with Mr. Schultzman Law, but I would just want to point out before you all take any kind of action, on page 430 of your packet, there is a typo. It should say 60 days under section 5, item 1. And also would like this to be approved subject to the corporation. I want to verify that the state of Florida, Mr. Dewall, is currently working on a new corporation, if we could have it subject to that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Fahey. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries 5-0. All right, now, back to public hearing. We have done the Appalachian solar panel. I want to make a comment. I happened to be in a meeting along with Ms. Daniels last Friday with an attorney from out of town who was working on a project, and he wanted to convey that we should give a gold star to Amber and to Ms. Mary. And so I just wanted to convey that publicly. So if you would advise them, I would appreciate it. Okay, the only thing left, I think, in the public hearing is for Ms. Christie. And I'm going to go with the public hearing. Good night, Michelle. We're in.
This is a request to adopt an ordinance updating the tourist development plan. It would repeal the ordinance 98-12, provide for certification and provide an effective date. I don't know how to do this for this part. The whole thing. An ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Jackson County, Florida, revising and restating the Jackson County Tourist Development Plan, repealing the Tourist Development Plan adopted in ordinance number 98-12, providing for codification and providing an effective date.
Okay, hang on a minute. Okay. Is there anyone here for or against? Going out. Public hearing.
Okay, Chairman, I'll offer a motion to adopt ordinance and authorize you as chairman to sign.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hill, Donna Crowe, second by Commissioner Hill. I do have one question. On page 489, my binder, they talk about this component of natural resource access improvement. Lake Seminole, will that allow us to use some of this funding to improve Howell's Landing?
As the statute allows.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll need a more specific inquiry. Really have to look at it. Around this.
Boat slip, boat landing, floating dock, parking.
Floating dock, possibly, no boat ramp.
And it improves access.
No boat ramp. Well, not only is there the AGO on it, but there was also a revision to item 6 of section 5 under 125.0104 that says no capital project.
How about the use of municipal, the use of municipal?
Well,
it really depends. It's all list item by item. You would have to, what exactly, a boat ramp, no. Restroom facilities, I think are classified, correct me wrong.
well, would you do me a favor? Would you get with Brett Daniel and talk to him about the improvements we want to do at Howell's Landing? Because he's supposed to be submitting the plan, trying to get authorization to do a couple of things from the Corps. So discuss it with him and then bring it back to us at the next meeting.
I will say, just so it is clear in here, improvements such as that can only be 10% of the first 3 pennies. So based upon our collections that we are getting right now, we're looking at around 27,000 for a 1-year period that can be allocated back towards the project like this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any more questions? All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank y'all.
Okay, we have decided to deal with the landscaping and the RVs at the next meeting. We do have one thing, Wendy, under community development. I know we popped around, but we get through it.
It's all good. So we have a request for a landscaping variance for street frontage for 7 storage area. You want to go into detail?
We have a motion by Commissioner Hill. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Payton. Any questions?
About a piece of property, I don't quite follow why they would not be able to comply. I mean, it looks like they've got green area in front. There's a lot of, it says there's like asphalt and concrete there, but like they could comply with it.
I did not view myself. I think Ms. Barnes did and felt like that it was a reasonable request.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's do nothing. Where you at, Michelle? You got anything?
I don't have anything.
Luann?
I do not.
Donna Brooke?
Yeah, just a question.
Mr. Michael?
Oh, sorry. For Scotty, Greenwood Road that runs from, I guess what I call it Christian School Road, that view, where it runs out to the new light they put in front of the KA school. That road is seeing a lot more traffic now that school is open, and it's a very narrow road, and there's one bad, looks like the utility cut there. I'm receiving a lot of complaints about traffic and speed on that road and just the condition of that road as well.
Under that, District 3 stuff that Anderson, supposed to get started on next week. We picked up that patch to get it done in there, but what I'll do is I'm gonna do a traffic study and make sure some, feeling signs may be down from Michael or whatever, and we'll go get some posted and, it'll slow down like 25.
Yeah, a couple of people live there.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of bus traffic, actually school bus traffic on that road as well.
Looking for path least resistance.
Yeah.
I'll get somebody to take care of it tomorrow, get them look at it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bill. Mr. Payne.
I do have, I got one item that, I got a call on. I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but Grand Ridge FFA, is that right? Has requested to use this facility for their banquet. And they were asking if we could waive the fee, because it is kind of a steep fee for the FFA. And that's the request I want to ask, but I also think we need to be looking at that policy to where they don't have to ask us every time. On some of your 4-H, your FFA, your ag stuff uses the facility anyway. But I think we need to look at 4-H in there. I think it's April the 30th, but they've already.
All right, got a motion. Second. Second by Commissioner Payne.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Peacock.
Yes.
I made the motion, Mr. Hill made the second.
Thank you, Commissioner Payne. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Stay out of my district. Okay, Commissioner McKinney.
Yes, sir. Mr. Sally, the patch truck was getting placed on operational. When we plan on the operation?
We should have parts supposed to come in tomorrow, and we get them in tomorrow. We'll work on it tomorrow, Friday, or by Friday, yeah, running. And we're trying to. Anderson very seldom runs the type of asphalt we need to pack, and we thought we were getting smart, and we checked with the APAC and Dothan, got the price on it, then it don't know it's still that across the state line. So we're gonna still have to go to PGs and get them, but by Monday we should be back patching the truck. Yes, that's that day #1 to get take care of them because they've been waiting. But we're gonna get it going and get down and take care of it.
Okay, and also, is there a possibility I get a list of private drives that we just want? That actually get maintained, not being maintained by the candidates, but for being used by public.
I can get you, I've got a list started of ones that citizens have called me about and complaining that the free truck from Michael, the garbage truck, and all this have done a lot of damage on them. But I'll get the list I have going. I'll get to you. I can send to everybody that wants. And then there's throughout the county.
Commissioner, just running there, needs patch trucks on part of New Market. That whole, I think, there at the end is watered out.
Yeah.
And Piano Road, we've only got 25 big holes. That's all.
Oh. Everything should be ready to advertise. We're advertising. We can contract like impact.
So you're working on a small contract, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they'll start in District 5, right?
District 5. Not Jackson County, no, I see.
All right. Clay, you have anything?
Thank you.
Okay. I hate to disappoint Commissioner Page, but I haven't done it.